Hello and welcome to another episode. As you can see, we're in a much less grotty garage. It's still pretty small. The main difference here is I've got my nice flags on the wall here. Still got one spider over there in the corner, but the main thing is it is not damp, it's not dark and dingy. You can see it's much better lit, and hopefully this should be much easier to work with. I've also had a haircut. The lockdown in the UK came to an end, so I finally had a haircut, which is about time. I can now go in a straight line and round corners faster, which is pretty good. So today we're going to carry on with the Kawasaki. It's been a few weeks, so I had a few parts arrive. We'll go through those. Don't know how far we'll get. We'll see what the engine's looking like. So from last time, the latest we got to was the camshaft is knackered. Big gouges in that. We can't have that at all. And the rockers, the exhaust rocker has a huge chunk taken out of it as well. So I've got new rockers that arrived from China and a used but pretty good camshaft off eBay. This will involve taking the cylinder head off, so while I'm doing that I might as well have a look, see what the condition's like. The head itself should be pretty good. There's no issues with compression or anything like that, but it's worth looking at the valves to see if this camshaft problem has been causing any damage to the valves. See what condition they're in and see where we go from there. It might be better to get some new ones, in which case that'll delay things a bit further. But okay, so we've got some new parts now. We've got first of all a new cam chain. So this is what links the crankshaft at the bottom to the camshaft at the top. So a new one of those. I think the old one, I'm not really sure the old one's that bad, but at this point it only cost me about £18 or something, so I thought I might as well. New, well not new, but used and in much better condition than the existing one camshaft. So have a quick look at this here. See the slight wear on the cams, but having run my fingernail over those you can't really feel anything at all, so that should be fine. Much better than the existing one. And then finally we have our new rockers here. So these are brand new from China, so they might be made out of Chinesium, but we'll see. It's better than the ones that are in. To get a used, not that good one from the US on eBay is about 50 quid, and these were 25 delivered for the pair, so let's give it a go. Alright, so now I'm going to take the sprocket off the top there. Take the cam chain tensioner off, take the sprocket off, and what I'm going to do when I undo these two bolts on here is I'm going to hold on to this bolt here to stop this turning. Otherwise, as I try and turn these bolts at the top, all that's going to happen is the crankshaft will start turning, and we don't want that. So I'm going to take these off. Okay, right, slide that off, and then if we wriggle this just right, hopefully the chain should just slide off thanks to the slack. And oh, there we go. See the cable tie doing a good job there of stopping this dropping down the block. So now the valves are still slack from last time. I never bothered tightening them up because obviously we weren't going to run the bike at all. So in theory, the camshaft, there we go, should just slide out nicely. There we go. And just remind ourselves what a horrendous state it's in. There's gouges and things on there. Great. So that's come out. Hopefully we can do a better job with the new one. So the next step is to do what we need to do to get the cylinder head off. Now of course onto the head attach the carburetor, the intake, so air and fuel into this side, exhaust fumes, gases, all that stuff out of this side. So exhaust pipe needs to be taken off. I'm going to disconnect the carburetor as well. So something I would always recommend when undertaking a project like this, especially if like me you really don't know what you're doing, you've not done this before, is getting a proper service manual. So this is the proper Kawasaki KL250 manual. So this is really good. Actually, it takes you through how to take apart every little bit, all the steps required. So the section here is cylinder head removal, which of course we need to do for getting at the exhaust rockers here. So quite a nice sort of diagram. Wiggling with a screwdriver is good. Chiseling it off is bad. So no Jeremy Clarkson hammer tactics going on here. Right, so as you can see, I've got the cylinder head off. It's a little bit dusty, bit of carbon clogging this up, but it's been running pretty rich, then pretty lean and all over the place sort of before and just after I had it. It's only recently been running a bit better, so not really too surprised about that. But yeah, so what we're going to do, get the rockers off, put the new ones on, have a look at the valves just to make sure they're not too damaged while we're in this far. There's no point not doing it really, I think. And then we'll replace these rubber gaskets here, the main head gasket, and hopefully things will be a bit better. Okay, so here's the cylinder head on my workbench. So you can see inside there we've got the exhaust rocker there and the inlet rocker there, where the air and the fuel come in. As we saw before, if we zoom in a little bit there, the inlet rocker looks pretty good. That exhaust rocker, you can see that angle in it, that's not good, you don't want that. So we've got to get this screw out here, take this plate off, 2 shafts that these pivot on, take those out, rockers out, new rockers in, and then for the rockers, that's the job done. Otherwise, it's what we call a journal here, where the camshaft sits in and rotates. Doesn't look too bad actually, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Newer bikes, they put a roller bearing type thing in there so that things don't rub on each other. This one, much like the old Honda 50s and things, just relies on a film of oil, so it sits on that and spins, but it looks okay. It's 40 years old, I'm not too worried. That I'm going to leave, do the rockers, and then turns out I need a special tool, special tool or some ingenuity to compress the valve springs to get the valves out. So, just turning this around a minute. So, you see we've got our valves here, so the rocker comes down, and the idea is that pushes down on the valve, which then inside the cylinder, these valves, they're like a mushroom shape or a T shape, but as they move down, that opens the hole up so all the gases can go in or out depending on which valve. So, we want to check that this valve here that's held in by this little, these 2 little discs, as that's pushing up and down, has that compressed, has this rocker being hitting that like a hammer doing any damage, or are these valves okay? So we'll have a look at that. To do that, I need to compress this spring but hold the valve in place so I can take the little discs out, pull the rocker out. I need a special tool for that or some ingenuity, so I might leave that for another day. Okay, so final update for today. I've taken this little plate off. These 2 hollow shafts here are what the rockers pivot on, and normally I'd expect these to have a little thread in them, so you put a bolt in, you can pull that out or use a special tool. These don't seem to have any threads in them whatsoever, which means slightly different tool. I think what I need essentially is like the opposite way around of a pair of pliers. I need one where you squeeze it and it pushes outwards to pull, or failing that, I can just tap a small thread in them and put a bolt in and pull on that. So that looks to be the next step. Until that's done, I can't change the rockers, so stay tuned for next time. Okay, so I'm going to call it a day. Clearly I need some more tools that I didn't really anticipate needing. So we've got some more work to do with the rockers, couldn't get those out just yet. Cylinder heads off. I cover things up with cloth to make sure nothing gets covered in anything nasty. But in the meantime, yeah, I'll need to get a tool to pull these rocker shafts out, and also something to compress the valve springs so that we can get the valves out to have a look. So until I've got those, can't really do an awful lot else. So till next time, thank you very much for watching, and cheerio. This garage even has running water. Look at that. Don't know what I'm going to use it for, but it's nice to have. I could do anything. I could get an espresso machine in the garage. What? Might have to do that. I think I will.